Hey, today I got something interesting for you. This is some stuff I use routinely. This is kind of a little intermediate level, maybe a beginner to intermediate. I think most of the beginners that watch the show are pretty smart. They're probably other websites intermediates. So just bragging on our guys. But what I wanted to show you was some sidechain, some uses for the sidechain on a compressor. The sidechain, having access to that is probably one of the coolest tools ever. It allows us to de-ess. It allows us to do a lot of different things. Now, get ready for some high-level graphics. Here's our signal coming in, blah, 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 blah. Now, this goes into the electronics of the compressor, blah, 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 blah. And these electronics kind of smooth it out. Now, the electronics are dumb, so you take a little piece of the original audio and you feed that back into a circuit that controls this amplifier. So what I've done here, the brown track is the original signal. I just copied it, but I copied it without automation. The automation, as you can see right here, is turned off. So now I have access to the sidechain information. The sidechain is sometimes called the detector circuit. And so now I can control that. So if my vocal is moving up and down, it's going to make the circuitry in the amplifier part do different things. So if I can kind of control that and keep it within a certain range, I can kind of have the compressor not go as drastically up and down as it might normally, and then I can control, with setting my release time, I can control different elements of what the detector circuit is feeding to the amplifier section. Not the best explanation I've ever given about how compression works, but on Into The Lair, you know we've got a long tradition of having you do some homework, having you figure this stuff out yourself, and having you think of new ways to use this. So let's just jump right in and we'll explain it as we go along. I've been struggling trying to get a good A-B comparison so you guys can hear the differences. Just trust me, the differences are there, but if I pick one section, it's going to be a little different than another. So if I've got a big dynamic section, it might sound a little lower. If I've got low section, might sound, it's going to be different. But just trust me, this does work. So let's start out with just the vocal without anything on it. So this top compressor here they're identical, and this guy here has no sidechain. This is just the vocal as we know it. Now this is a beautiful liar, Casey again. Man, I love this girl.
I'ma listen, like I always do. Sign the petition of everything you say is true.
Pretty good. Okay, now what we're going to do is go to this compressor, sidechaining it with bus 44. If you'll notice, this duplicate of this track is coming out bus 44, going into the sidechain. So now I can control the volume of my sidechain by controlling this volume here. You can do this with a bus and aux. And let's check out now what it sounds like.
I'ma listen, like I always do. Sign the petition of everything you say is true.
Not bad. In fact, see, this has got automation on it. Not much, but it's moving a little bit. Now the automation, I don't think the automation on this track is controlling the sidechain, so I'm not even sure why I brought that up. But anyway, I took all the automation off of this because I didn't want that automation. You can actually get some neat things by leaving the automation on this guy. Now let's look and see what happens if we take a limiter and put a limiter on the sidechain. Now if you notice, this limiter is controlling the information that we're letting the compressor get to control the output. So let's listen to it one more time without.
I'ma listen, like I always do. Sign the petition of everything you say is true.
Okay, now this is with it.
I'ma listen, like I always do. Sign the petition of everything you say is true.
It's a little louder, so it's going to sound a little better, but if you notice what's happening is that the moves the compressor is making. Think of the compressor as like an automatic volume control, even though it's not. Think of it that way. The moves it's making are a little less drastic. Okay, now let's see what happens if we take an equalizer and take out all the low end information below 400 and all the top end above 600. Now watch.
I'ma listen, like I always do. Sign the petition of everything you say is true.
Without.
I'ma listen, like I always do. Sign the petition.
You know what? Let's take a little section. It might be more instructive. Watch this.
Sign the petition, 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 sign the.
So it basically is reducing these frequencies a little more than it might other frequencies. Okay? Now, what would happen if we expand the information going into the side chain? So now, if you notice, I've got this Renaissance compressor set to expand. So watch the blue here. When this goes up, it's sending louder information to the side chain, which is going to make the compressor work a little harder. This, by the way, is my favorite.
I'ma listen, like I always do. Sign the petition of everything you say is true.
Pretty cool, huh? And then my absolute favorite is these two together.
I'ma listen, like I always do. Sign the petition of everything you say is true.
Now let's take them out again. Watch the meter again.
I'ma listen, like I always do. Sign the.
You see that I'ma loses a little bit of power, doesn't it? Okay, so let's just add this guy.
I'ma listen, like I always do.
This gives us a little more.
I'ma listen, like I always do. Sign the petition.
Anyway, play with that, man. You can do some cool stuff, you know. You can use it on vocals, you can use it on guitars, you can have the guitar track control a vocal track. You've heard of everybody talk about side chaining the bass in a lot of dance music. All you're doing is taking and putting the compressor on the bass, you're accessing the side chain, and then you're using the kick drum track on the side chain to control when the kick hits, the compressor pulls down the level of the bass. But you can do a lot of things. I think I told you a long time ago, you can actually delay, you can actually slide the track back, slide it ahead a little bit, like maybe a millisecond. And then you can manipulate the compressor, and you can let your attack time get a little longer. That gives you a certain kind of attack on the words, or you can slide the green track, you can slide that to the right or later by half a millisecond, quarter of a millisecond, and then that'll let the consonants come through a little more than the other stuff. So there's a lot of things you can do with this technique. It's just so much fun to do. So hope you guys got something out of this, and we'll see you soon.